Hello, dear friends, comrades, brothers, sisters. We're here to talk about a very important topic with as thorough a calculus as we can bring to this equation.
Yeah.
The question we get so often from our dudes is, where the hell do I go to meet women?
Yeah.
Get your calculators out, guys.
We're going to teach you exactly what to do, the exact equations required to go out and meet the woman of your dreams tonight.
That's
if you want to. Yeah. We're going to walk you through it step by step. You're going to get the exact process.
Calculators, protractors, you're going to be having to time out a few things and work on some sacred geometry here. It's going to be really highly technical,
yeah,
but incredibly valuable and worth the effort.
You're gonna want to stick around to the end of this one. Yeah, so I was meeting with a man this afternoon. We were talking about authentic dating secrets, which is the 11-week training that Joshua and I lead, teaching dudes how to get better results with women and do it in a way where you're not being a creepy douchebag, and it's a win-win for everybody. And he brought up this concept that I've heard from a lot of dudes, which is the concept of, I don't know where to go to meet women. And we broke it down a bit together in the conversation. I brought it to Joshua today, and we decided it was the perfect topic to jam on a little bit today. So let's dive right in. Or is there anything else you want to preface this with before we really jump into breaking this down, Joshua?
Well, I mean, yeah, I think that there are just so many like cultural expectations and things that come up when we ask ourselves that question. And we have to, I think I want to preface everything we're saying with the fact that the answer isn't out there somewhere. And that most of the guys who are telling themselves like there's no good places to meet awesome women are fulfilling their own expectations around that exceptionally well. So all of this is an invitation to like look at your own internal game and look at where you're already limiting yourself by telling yourself a story about how available women are. Right.
I've talked to a lot of guys who really get in their own ways about this. And the first thing that I want to say is this is something that seems really freaking obvious, but dude, women are everywhere. You can't not meet women. The guy who says, where do I go to meet women? And to walk out your door. Literally just walk out your door, go to a coffee shop, go to like step into the middle of the street and wait for a car to stop. 50% chance it's a woman inside of it. So this is the frame of the conversation that we want to set, is women are everywhere. So when a guy is asking, where do I go to meet women? He's not actually saying I can't find women, because that's just, that's a ridiculous statement. The question really is, where do I go to meet women, the kind of women that I want to meet, and develop the kind of connections that I want to develop, and meet an actual real woman that I can develop that kind of a connection with, right? That's what this conversation is actually about.
Yeah. And, the simple equation, there is an equation here, and the equation is not complex. It's incredibly simple. The equation is, what kind of a place brings me joy to go, plus a willingness to create connections without an agenda, equals the precise location that you are going to meet the romantic partner of your dreams. That's it. That's the equation. And so we talk about
go ahead.
Going to where your highest joy is. Like, what brings you joy? So many guys have this idea in their head that they have to go to the club or go to the bar or go to some sort of culturally prescribed place where the mating rituals take place, right? And that is just such a setup for everybody, right? Like, nobody wins when we have this sort of overarching framework that it's not being questioned or somehow having some counterbalance of curiosity and reason, right? Because as Robert said, women are everywhere. And when you put yourself in an environment, if you love going to clubs and dancing, if you love going to bars and hanging out, then go to those places and do your thing. And with this openness and curiosity to connect. But if you don't love those places, but you're going there just for this sort of objective to like meet women,
or even if you're not going
to start a romantic connection.
I want to say,
right?
even if you're not going there, but in your head, you're telling yourself that you should, because more
Right.
often that's what happens.
Right. A lot of guys are just going to shy away from it entirely. And if if you're going to those places though, but they're not your zone, they're not like, they don't resonate with your values or your frequency or who you are or what you really love to do, then the odds are that, number one, you're going to feel like a stranger in that space. So you're going to be less like abundantly connective. And number two, even if you do bring a sense of connection and curiosity to that space, you're going to meet people who aren't sharing your values, aren't resonating at your frequency, aren't having the same kind of interests that you do. And so you're off to a rocky start at best, brother.
Yeah. And like Joshua was saying, there's a lot of expectations that are underlying this stuff, and they come from different places. I know for me, being really relatively only minorly exposed to pickup artist culture, there's some kind of expectation that I have of, I should be able to go walk down the street and pick up women on the street corner. That's one of the big ones for me. For me, it's less bars or clubs. It's like I should be able to just walk downtown for 5 minutes and meet 20 women, with whom I have great connections. And that's not how it works for me. Like, I go to the way that I meet women, the way that I have met women, is like Joshua was saying, going to places that I enjoy with the intention to connect with people and in a goalless way. And this is something that we break down deeper. If you're watching this on YouTube, you can click on the link that's showing for you right now. But really, it's about going to a place that I enjoy to connect in a way that's enjoyable for me, really. And typically, what's most enjoyable to both sides involved is when you're approaching it from with a goallessness and a sense of curiosity and a sense of playfulness, and not trying to get anything out of the situation, not trying to get anything out of her, not trying to get anything out of the event or location where you're at, just connecting, as opposed to clinging to an objective. Do you want to talk about this idea of abstract goals of meeting women, Joshua?
Absolutely, because we have to distinguish a few things within the sort of network of our desires. If your goal is to create a rich romantic relationship with a partner or multiple partners, then beautiful. Have that as this beautiful goal that lives out there in the ethers for you. Reaffirm the possibility of achieving that goal, and recognize that larger overarching goal is only going to get in your way if you keep it pasted to your forehead in front of your eyes all the time. That the very first step to achieving that goal is to just make connection with somebody and see what happens. Not to make something happen, to go out and make something happen with a woman, but to show up in a space with curiosity and a desire to connect and see what emerges from that intention and that experience. Because whoever that woman is and wherever you get to go with her, the first step is connection. And if you bring an agenda to that, and if you bring this mindset of like, oh my God, she's so hot, maybe she's going to be my baby mama, which honestly is not necessarily going on in your mind in that way, but we put that pressure on these interactions, then you're going to find yourself nervous and stumbling and doing it differently than you would if you were just walking into a really easy, simple interaction, right? Which is all it ever needs to be. Anything more than that is an addition to the basic fact that you're just connecting with another human being who happens to maybe create some sensations in your belly and in your loins
Yeah. Yeah. And so the prescription here is really simple. We've pretty much broken it down, you know, the complex calculus of where do I go to meet women is A, go somewhere that you enjoy, and B, connect with women in a way that's enjoyable, you know, do it in a goalless way as much as possible. And yeah, go ahead, Joshua.
I was just affirming that's the simplicity of it.
Yeah.
That is the utter simplicity of it.
Yeah.
And that is something that's very practicable. So we'd like to just invite you, encourage you, if this is something that's interesting to you, if you want this. And something you have to be willing to ask yourself is, if this is important to me, like, how much am I willing to invest in this process? Because, you know, a lot of guys, I don't want to get too off topic here, but a lot of guys who really want relationship are holding a sort of impossible standard for the ROI. They want to invest minimum and get maximum results.
Like I was saying, like there's some part of me that thinks I should just be able to walk 5 blocks downtown Santa Monica and meet 20 women, right?
Yeah. And that's just not the case. You're going to have to step out of your comfort zone. That's the definition of the kind of curiosity and vulnerability and openness that our whole program is cultivating in the men that we work with. And so if you're willing to invest in having what you want, it starts with making some smart investments, right? And a smart investment that we want to invite you into, a very concrete and simple one, is to do a little research and find an event that looks like fun for you in your area, whether that's a freaking drag race or some kind of a concert or a class of some kind, a tantra class, a yoga class, a transformational workshop of some kind. Whatever your jam is, go sign up for one of those and invite a friend to come with you. And show up into that space with an intention to connect with at least 3 strangers without any goals or attachments at the outcome of that connection, with just curiosity. Like, what happens when I combine the element of me with the element of that person over there? Well, I don't know. We're in the laboratory. We got our coats on and our goggles on so we don't burn our eyes. And we just do the experiment and see what happens. It's a chemistry experiment every time. And if you just view every one of these interactions as a chemistry experiment where you go, what happens when I combine me with that over there? Ooh, ouch, that burns. Yuck, no, I don't like that. Or like, ooh, that's pleasurable. And I'd like to combine me with that more. So it has so much to do with that intention. So find an event, invite a friend, and go there with a specific intention in mind and hold each other accountable to that intention. That's the last thing and one of the most important things that we want to share with you is don't try to do this alone. And get a friend out there who is just as interested in making some changes in his life as you are, or in her life as you are, and support each other, hold each other accountable.
Yeah. And for any of you guys watching, any thoughts, any questions that come up, type them into the comments. We want to hear. We would love to know what comes up for you. We would love to hear the experience that you have after you go out and find an event and talk to 3 people. How was it? I challenge you to go do that and report back to us in the comments. You get like 20 gold stars if you do that, and more than that, you get the satisfaction of knowing that you're taking some action to create what you want in your life. So let us know how it goes. Let us know any thoughts, questions, comments. And
absolutely.
Yeah, go ahead.
And I just want to say too that, like, if you're a man who, you know, you're checking out these videos and you feel like there's valuable content, but you still feel a bit confused and like it might not apply to you, reach out to Robert or myself. Let's have a conversation. Like, we love having conversations with men about how to have the most joyful, authentic, juicy relationship life that they can possibly have.
Will you talk real quick about the client you're working with currently, whom you've spoken to me about recently?
Oh my gosh, this dude. Uh, this is a coaching client of mine who also came through our Authentic Dating Secrets 11-week training, and it's a guy who's come from a pretty intense religious background where his sexuality was so deeply shamed and traumatized as a result of that. He just found himself so frozen with women, and literally. This man is drowning in women in his life right now. He is doing so many different kinds of relationship experiments with so many different women, lining up multiple dates a week, sometimes multiple dates a day, all in a completely transparent, completely honest, completely on the table way with every woman he's engaged with. And he is in the process, deep in the process of discovering that he can get everything he wants in a way that gives the women he interacts with everything that they want to. And I'm just so blown away by his commitment. This is something he committed himself to making happen, and he's doing it by showing up again and again to the process, letting himself be supported through the process, doing edgy experiments, taking risks, having some fails along the way. And I don't know a man who would not utterly envy this man's life with women right now.
Yeah.
So
I just wanted to make it real. When you say reach out to us and talk to us, if you've got a question, because a lot of guys are like, oh, I don't know if there's a whole slew of reasons that you might just watch this video and not. I wanted to make it real. What happens when you actually take the step of reaching out to get some support and say, hey, I actually want to master this in my life. And that's such a beautiful example. So thank you for sharing that.
Yeah. Really, this whole thing is about saying yes to the opportunity that's in front of your face, brother, and not talking yourself out of it.
Yeah.
So whether it's the opportunity to talk to a beautiful woman, the opportunity to click on that next video that might actually help answer some questions or clarify some things for you, or the opportunity to send us a message right now and see about having a conversation with one of us. So grab the opportunity.
So thanks for watching. Go out there, create some delicious connection for yourself. Go out there and make somebody's day better. I got that comment literally just yesterday. You just made my entire day, literally from one comment that I made to somebody. So go out there and make the world a more beautiful place, and we'll talk to you soon.
Yes. Happy hunting.